everybody. Happy, beautiful Sunday morning. Actually, getting close to noontime over here. Looking at about the middle of the month, February 2023. I actually took the whole week where I stopped the build and just concentrated. And concentrated may be the wrong word. Um, I changed speeds in my brain. I slowed everything down, and I just made the rivets in the seam process part of the build. I always had a cup of coffee or a cold drink, always outside or inside. I only worked a tiny bit or a few minutes or half an hour or maybe just a minute. And as soon as I did what I had to do, I put everything down and I went to go do something else. I did not want to rush this project or give you sloppy results. And because of that, the case is now things are coming out great. Um, so basically, the hope there's plenty of rivet and seam um, videos that deal with seams and rivets on YouTube from professional models who could teach that with their eyes closed. And that's probably where you guys need to go get your basics down. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build as we talk, experiment on my actual um, build project. But it's to lose the apprehension, or you're just starting out in the hobby and you run into a roadblock, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be seams or rivets. Um, you bought the model for a reason. Obviously, you liked it. You envisioned something in your brain, obviously, and you're moving along fine until you bump into some sort of issue or problem. How are you going to set the precedent for from here on out? Every time you, as a modeler, your reputation that you have is that, oh, he bumps into problems and he comes up with solutions and he fixes them. Don't you want to be that guy? Obviously, this AMT Freightliner cab kit has issues, but we're going to not make them issues or roadblocks or something that stops the build, but rather something that accompanies the build. And it's just as fun if you let it. Let's go ahead. We're gonna cover working with. Today we're gonna be covering three mediums of rivets. Now you saw my last two videos. I concentrated on the seam. Now we're gonna be moving on to the actual rivets and installation of rivets. Before we start, let me say hello. First of all, to a new subscriber, Model Car 1589 or Model Car 1589. Thank you for joining and subscribing to the channel. You're more than welcome to comment or critique or advice in the comment section below. It's all good. Welcome aboard. We can't wait to hear from you, and we have been checking out your channel. Always want to say hi to GT Classic Plastic. I hope everything's working out for you, bud. I hope everything's starting to line up a lot better than it did last year. Everybody go and check out GT Classic Plastics YouTube site. Go on over there and just tell him hi and check out what he's been up to. And last but not least, one of the YouTubers here did mention a process for filling in the seam. I went to go buy it down at my hobby store. They didn't have it. They had to put it on back order. Rick Kelso, thank you for recommending Mr. Dissolved Putty. Mr. Dissolved Putty. Now that got my brain working because I had Mr. Surfacer here from Mr. Hobby. And I remember watching one of these Tiger Tank channels. Adam Mann's Tiger Tank builds over on his YouTube channel. And towards the end there, when he started slowing down as far as the builds and doing the movies, videos and stuff, he talked about using Mr. Surfacer to fill in small gaps or cracks or seams. And I thought that was interesting. I did have a bottle here in the shop, but we went ahead and used four techniques for fixing your seam. Let's focus on this over here. We use four techniques. We use the white dissolved styrene and Tamiya cement. It will call styrene glue. We use that in conjunction with Mr. Surfacer from Mr. Hobby. We also use regular Bondo, spot glaze, and we used plastic putty from Vallejo Products. We actually not only use 4 techniques here, and I walked you through them, but we actually started to have fun with it when we went back to made the last video. I started to mix and match, where instead of using Bondo throughout the entire seam or project, or the Vallejo product, or Mr. Surfacer, or whatever the case may be, I felt so confident in what I could do with that stuff, and I wanted to, how can I pass that feeling on to you guys? Who just started here about 3.5 years ago, could mix and match, go back and use a different product, go back and use another product, sometimes in the same seam. Right here, I have all 4. You can see the different colors. And it came out smooth, came out perfect, sanded it nice. Uh, we're going to primer this. It'll be all gray. We'll get rid of that. I just wanted to show you guys before I hit it with the grape paint what it does look like when you're done. And it looks all sorts of spotty colors from the different products you used. But I wanted to show you that have no fear of mixing and matching, experimenting. This stuff right here could have came out wrong. All you got to do is go back here and sand off or cut off with a knife or whatever you got to do, smooth it out, and restart with your different product. So get off that beach, lose that apprehension. If I can do this, you guys can do this. So today, okay, one interesting technique, but this is going to be hard to do as the months and years go by, because I'm not sure Tiki Train Group is still in business. They had different size rivets, rivet heads, bolt heads, nut bolt heads, um, turnbuckles, all sorts of stuff for your turn of the century narrow gauge type wooden freight cars and stuff. And they have perfect rivets for what we do here. They're getting hard to find, or they might not be in business anymore. I have not been in model railroading in a long time. So we'll use this sparingly. So she's done. She's ready to go. You can't tell here, but she has been smooth. I'm trying to see if there's any lines or shadows. It's hard to do on camera, but you do this up against some bright lights, shop light. You can see any shadows and stuff that you still have to work on. So I can tell you right now, the top of the seam and all the rivets have been sanded off. The seam has been dealt with on top, on the side, both sides. In addition, I wanted to share this with you guys because I did something very interesting I said I was going to do that does not exist on the real prototypes, but it does come in our Daylight AMT Freightliner cab, and that is they tended to make the wheel well flare out really bad, really wide back here, and then just kind of smooth it out aerodynamically. So you had a silly look to it. I went ahead and enclosed that. You can see the piece of white styrene I used to bring that wheel well from here to here. And this is just a duplicate or a copy of this up here. And it looks a hell of a lot better. I already measured it on the frame with the wheels and stuff. And obviously I did it to both sides. This is the finished side. Okay, so let's start off real quick by saying I'm confident the way my roof came out. We're going to hit it with primer right now, some Tamiya extra thin. just to see. We'll let it dry and we'll see if there's any more imperfections left or if it's a go. But it will no longer look spotty like that, and it'll be all gray and nice. It will be more presentable as the days and the weeks go by. We'll let that dry a little bit. Let's talk about something else real quick. Um, there you go. This guy here. Same thing. Our seam has been taken care of. You'll see the different color products I use for different areas. In this particular case, most of the rivets stayed, but we wiped out the center of the bands, rivets from the center of the bands, and we'll replace those with those decals that we saw that arrived in the mail the other day, and that would be the commercial products that come from Archer. We'll just start either putting them as a strip or one by one. There's about, looks like about 4 to 6 to 8 per row, but we'll work on that and we'll film it with you guys so you guys can see that process also. I sanded it, I smoothed it out. She's ready for a primer top coat. Let's check it out. Okay. Now here on the side of our sleeper AMT, we smoothed out the seam that runs along the side of the cab behind the driver's door. In this particular case, we use the Mr. Surfacer product only, and you can see a more darker band of gray of that there. We sanded it smooth, everything came out great. Let me hit it with the primer so we'll see how that looks when she's done. All right. So there's our day cab. Some light here, need some more lights on here. Okay, there's our day cab. And as you can see, that seam pretty much is non-existent. We'll wet sand that smooth. We'll hit it with some more. But that's how beautiful she's going to look. Our sleeper version, same thing. It's going to come out. She came out great. She's going to be looking good here pretty soon. And there's the side that we just hit with Tamiya. So great. So I'll come in here and I'll put the rivet band that comes behind the door. I'll use the commercial product from Archer. Over here, I'll use my homemade rivets. Same thing on this side. On this side, we already went ahead and applied our homemade rivets. And we're going to do a couple here for you. That's made out of styrene rod. We'll do a few for you here so you see how the process works and how it flows. Basically, what you're going to have to do is get some of the styrene rod. The size, you get a whole bunch of different sizes. This particular one is 0.35. I did suggest previously that I used to cut slices out of this like coins and glue them onto the model. That is crazy, but I used to do that, believe it or not. Robert over at B&R's Northern Horse Journeys YouTube channel, which is a fantastic learning channel with all sorts of amazing tips that Robert puts out for everybody to enjoy. He gave me the suggestion of using styrene rod, but drilling the hole in the model surface and cutting this to length and putting the whole length through the hole, glue it from the back, and sand it down. Let me show you. We've already done a few actually with excellent results. Let's just have fun with this, guys. Check this out. All right, let's So we're going to cut a couple little slices here. See that? I wonder if that's too big. Okay. So using our tweezers, we pick it up like this. We're gonna do this. Okay. I already went ahead and pre-drilled. Pre-drilled the holes where our homemade styrene rod rivets are gonna go. So check this out. So you're gonna go ahead and push it through. We'll push it through to right about the height that we would like to see it resemble a rivet. If you leave them a little bit higher, you can always come back with a little sanding and get that taken care of. We're going to use our Tamiya. And from behind, we put some Tamiya extra thin on there. I wouldn't do the front because you'd mar the primer paint surface or the body color. But in this particular case, it's bare brass, so we can just go ahead and put a tiny bit there. That's rivet number 1. Let's do the second one here. Pre-drill your holes the same thickness as the styrene rod. Push it right through. That one maybe went down a bit too much. There you go. So there's 2 rivets already. Let's go ahead and put some Tamiya. There you go. I'd like to have it the same height as the other one, so I'm going to go ahead and tap lightly just to bring it down more or less to the same height. When they're all installed and the glue dry and they're in there rock hard, you can always come back with a light file and sand the tops of them to bring the height down, make it more flush to the metal. But there you go. That did not take any effort. I did it here on camera with one hand, and it's going to be a beautiful roll of homemade rivets. When it's done, we hit it with the primer, and then we'll come back and add that smaller roll of rivets that comes behind here, but that will do with the decal sheet. Already here on this piece, I'm seeing 2 little pinholes from when the putty dried. So let's do 2 things at the same time. Let's go ahead and address those putty holes right now on camera. So we opened up our Tamiya. We're going to go ahead, dip our toothpick in the product. We'll let that dry. We'll come back. We'll sand it smooth. But I'm continually going back, addressing little things, stiff here and there, but mixing the products, using the techniques, applicators, sanding afterwards, just to show you guys it's no big deal. It's all fun. I'm actually having a blast. No complaints from me here today. So our primer's dried a little bit more. So when you're all done with this side here, you're gonna have a whole bunch of these white styrene rods poking through here in line. You're gonna sand them, smooth them out, make them all uniform, and then you hit it with your primer before you hit it with your body color paint. And look at those wheel wells, a hell of a lot better than the way they were. Um, if you want to see how it's gonna look, if you have any doubts or saying maybe this method, looks kind of sloppy, that's the cheap way to go. I already did it. It's done. It's on the other side. Like always, I'm that cool teacher. We're going to do cool experiments here live. We don't read out of any boring books. So if you want to see it, you let me know. I'll flip it around. What was that? Yes? No? No? Check it out. What I have not done yet is take a file and sand them all the same height. But I kind of did it in a rush before I started shooting this video. See that? That's how it's going to look. You're going to have another rivet band here that will be made out of decals. You'll have another rivet band here, another one coming down here. Very interesting stuff. Something I really want to show you guys right now is the following. When I did this and I shot it with primer, I noticed there was another hole starting right there. So it gives you that double hole look. How am I going to fix that? It's done. Well, is that a great idea? Let's use that Mr. Surfacer. Primer is gray. It sticks to the primer. It's just a tiny little pinhole. We'll come back and we'll sand that once it dries and it starts to level off, because she'll start to level off a little bit on her own. Doesn't need more. It does it right there. Oh. Do that again. Okay. We'll check it out tomorrow, see how she looks, and we'll share the results with you guys here. But it's just an example what I've been doing. I'll do a little bit more tonight. I'll do some throughout the week. This maybe just another 2 videos to go, maybe 3 tops. I'm going to end this one here. We'll do part 2 real quick, and it'll air a few hours after this one. We're going to start working on different size rivets made out of different material, and we'll install them on the front here. Check out that part. That will be probably part 6 or 7. You guys have an awesome rest of your Sunday. This is one technique we practice and learn together. Come on back for the next video. You guys take care.